Everyone told me to start over. New chapter, clean slate, a fresh start. And I believed them. For 3 years, I believed them. It was the worst advice I ever took. Here is what nobody tells you about starting over. You can't actually start over, not really, because you don't arrive at a new chapter as a blank page. You arrive as every chapter that came before it. I am 68 years old, divorced for over 20 years. I have two grown sons, a beaded business called Deco Design, a 120-pound Cane Corso named Ragnar, who outswims me in my own pool, and a 5-pound Maltipoo named Emma, who has declared that my son Scott is an unacceptable presence in this house. And I have spent a lot of time thinking about what it means to begin again when you're not actually beginning again. When you're beginning from something. So stay with me here because this sort of changes everything as we think about it. The starting over myth goes something like this. Something ends, a marriage, a career, a version of yourself. And the story that we tell, the story culture sort of sells us, is that the ending is a demolition. Tear it all down, clear the lot, build something new. And I bought that story completely. After my divorce, I spent years trying to act like the previous 20-something years hadn't happened. Like I could have just stepped around them somehow. The reality was that I couldn't, and neither can you. And here's why that is actually good news. Everything that you've survived is structural. It is load bearing. The grief, the hard years, the things you figured out when you had no idea how you were going to figure them out. That's not rubble. That is foundation. You don't start over, you start from. And here's what I mean by that. When I started Deco Design, my beaded art business, I didn't start from nothing. I started from 20 years of learning from my mother and grandmother, learning to be patient with difficult things. I started from raising two sons who teach you more about precision, patience, and persistence than any art school ever could. I started from a divorce that taught me what I actually valued because I finally had to decide for myself. And a piece like this took 30 hours, thousands of individual decisions, every single one of them made by someone who learned to make decisions alone. And I couldn't have made this at 40. And it's not because I lacked the skill, because I hadn't lived enough to know what I was really trying to say. Starting over would have erased all of that, and starting from kept it. If you were in the middle of an ending right now, a marriage or a career or a version of yourself you've been for decades, I want to say something directly to you. The people telling you to start over, they mean well, they really do. But what they're really saying is, don't let the hard thing define you. And I agree completely with that part. What I don't agree with is the idea that surviving the hard things is something to move away from completely as fast as you can. You survived it, and that is data. That is evidence about who you are, and that is not nothing. That is everything. The question isn't, how do I start over? The question is, what did everything I have lived through make me capable of now? For me, starting from looked like this. It looked like taking 20 years of being told what I should want and finally asking what I actually wanted. It looked like a beading business built from scratch at an age when most people are told they're done building things. It looked like a YouTube channel at 68 with a few subscribers on my screened-in porch in Florida, and one dog who thinks he owns the pool, and a 5-pound Maltipoo who has very strong opinions about who I live with and zero interest in moderating them. None of that is starting over. All of that is starting from everything I survived, everything I learned, everyone I raised, everything I finally decided to stop pretending wasn't mine. You're not starting over. You are starting from. And from is so much more powerful than zero. The lie we tell ourselves about starting over is that the past is the problem. It's not. The past is the material. What you build with it, that is up to you. At 68 years old, I am more myself now than I have ever been. And not because I started over, but because I finally started from. Leave me a comment and let me know what you're starting from right now. And if this video landed for you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. I post a new video every Wednesday at 3 p.m. and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. I'll see you next Wednesday. Take good care of yourselves.